Hi, I'm Elysabeth Alfano. This is the Plant-Based Business Hour live from COP28. It's an unusual background that I have, and I'm specifically not using my microphone because I want you to hear the overwhelming sounds behind me. This is the meditative way that COP ends every night with an unbelievable display of lights in what is the central building or central monument around which all of the negotiation rooms are planned out. And this is a dome behind me. There's a light show going on. It's how we often end the day. This light show is every day. I don't always get to be here. The music and the graphics, it's part of the overwhelming visual is COP28. In this meditative state, I also bring you the other things that I experienced today at COP28. Of course, there's 75,000 people here, so many have different experiences, different learnings. I'm sure you're seeing the headlines from all over. Many plenary sessions happening with world leaders and politicians every day. And then there are also smaller side meetings, and those are the ones primarily that I'm in. I'll tell you that some very encouraging words from the Bezos Earth Fund, its CEO stating that alternative proteins part of the global tipping point to get us to a stable future. The global tipping points report from the Bezos Earth Fund now out, telling us that we have just 7 years before we cross 1.5 degrees Celsius. We have about 28 years before we cross 2 degrees. That'll get us to 2050, but very few think that we're on track to maintain a 1.5 degrees Celsius or lower. So very worrying there. At the same time, they talk about positive tipping points. Wind, solar, electric vehicles, these things having their own feedback loops, positive feedback loops that could take us in a different direction. So we are at a tipping point. Which way will we tip? That really is the question. That is the meeting that I just came from, more of a panel, large panel that I just came from. I was on a panel this morning with Earth Equity, Glenn Hurwitz, doing incredible work trying to stop deforestation in the Amazon and other countries like Indonesia, and also working on 10% alternative proteins by 2030 as a way to protect biodiversity. It is the most efficient way to do this. And then also FAIR, Sophia Condes, the Director of Investor Outreach. Our panel this morning, moderated by Sylvain Rolls from the United Nations Principles of Responsible Investing, UNPRI. We had a great discussion about climate finance. And I will say that the buzzword that I've been hearing is not just that we're discussing food systems transformation, but we're discussing financing food fast. So last year at COP27 in Egypt, no one was even talking about food. Fast forward 1 year, forget the fact that food is on the agenda. People are talking about how to execute plans. Now, of course, for every step forward, there is a step backwards. I believe yesterday, isn't this music wonderful? I believe yesterday I told you that 134 nations, although I've also heard 136 nations, have signed the United Arab Emirates Declaration that food and agriculture are part of the climate change solution. But declaring an agreement and actually working on an executable plan are two different things. And I hear from the World Wildlife Foundation that talks have stalled in these nations coming together to form any significant roadmap, that they're going to take this up again together in June of 2024. So that is disappointing, although not surprising. It would be unrealistic to think that for the first COP ever, when food systems transformation is part of the conversation, that it would immediately skip to executionable action. That's just not how politicians function. But I'm encouraged that they're meeting again in June of 2024, and that food systems and the financing of food systems transformation. We talk about scaling a new food system, novel food system, and novel technologies and novel proteins. You can't do that without scaling the finance behind it. So that climate finance directed at food is such a topic, is very encouraging to me. I was also in two different workshops with the Bezos Earth Fund and the World Resources Institute about how do we model and how do we create novel food systems transformation, and what can that impact, like energy and land and water and human health. So overall, it was a very productive day, and like every day, I like to end with this meditative symphony, visual and audio behind me. I was going to do today's recap from the United Nations COP climate change logo, but I figured I can do that any day at COP, and I wanted you to get this experience of this Middle Eastern night that is so warm and breezy and romantic and filled with a visual and audio symphony. Good night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow from Dubai.